Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Steam Shuffle. My name is Asher, and today we are looking at Enter the Gungeon. I apologize for the bit of a hiatus on there. My life has been consumed by another game that will not be mentioned, and I need to stop playing that one so I can get back to doing these, because this is what I like to do, and this is what I'm going to keep doing. So, with that out of the way, Enter the Gungeon was developed by Dodge Roll, which I was not able to find another game by them, which is kind of a pattern here actually lately. I keep finding games that I cannot find another game by that developer, but it was published by Devolver Digital, and they've put out a ton of games. They've published Hotline Miami, Serious Sam, things like that. So what this is a roguelike that's kind of along the same vein of Binding of Isaac. It's a twin-stick shooter, and it has more of a combat emphasis, and we'll kind of have to get into that. So, you can play it with either controller or keyboard and mouse. Both of them work very well together. I've been using controller, but for this, I'm actually going to just go with keyboard and mouse. And before we get in, I'm going to show a little bit of this off. There's not a whole lot, because the aesthetic here it's pixel art, so there's not going to be a whole lot you can change, but I was actually surprised by how much you could change. So just the regular gameplay options, there's actually quite a few things you can customize. It's different screen shake amounts, your controller aim look, and aim assist amounts. I haven't messed with these, but they seem fine to where they're at. So there is aim assist. You can change your cursor to something else if you prefer. I just use the default. And speedrun mode and beast mode, which I'm not messing with, because let's just get this out of the way right now. This game is brutally difficult. This game is incredibly hard. I've only made it to level 3, I think, one time, and it's fun, even with that being said. But this is not your let's play a couple of rounds and beat the game type of roguelike. No, this has a high emphasis on skill, and the better you get, the further you'll get. It's not so much have to do with which items you find, which does play a little bit into it, but it's not the end-all be-all. So here's a quick look at your visual options, your 1080 resolution. The scaling mode will only go to this pixel perfect mode if you are in 1080 mode. It's the way it was intended to be viewed let's just read the text. Intended visual design makes our artists happy, only available when correct resolution is selected. So they said it way better than I could. And you've got your lighting quality, shader qualities, debris quantity. I mean, a lot more than I would expect to see. Normally in a pixel art game, I don't even really look at the graphics options, because they really don't matter. There's not too much you can change. This will run on a potato. This would probably run on like a Raspberry Pi or something. So that shouldn't be a problem. If it is, you need to upgrade, guys. I'm sorry. It's time to get a new computer if you can't run this game on max detail at 60 frames. Alright, so let's get into it. Enter the Gungeon. You have 4 playable characters. The pilot here, who has a plasma pistol. He has a lockpick, so I believe he gets a free open on a chest. I don't play him very much. You have your convict, which she has a revolver and a sawed-off, so she starts with 2 weapons, a Molotov cocktail, and when she takes a damage, she will have a damage increase for a short period of time. Your hunter, she also has 2 weapons. She has a single-shot pistol and a crossbow, and she has this dog that apparently is supposed to find treasure in a room for you, but I've never seen that happen, so I'm not sure if there's a frequency thing or if there's something I'm missing on that, but I can't get it to trigger. And then your Marine, which is probably the best one to start out with, in my opinion. It's actually the one I play the most. He has armor by default, so he's a little bit tougher, and his aim is a lot more precise with his pistol. He also starts with an item that you can call in 1 free reload. So that's who we're going to go with. And we're going to enter the Gungeon. I don't have a controller plugged in right now, so you can't see him, but normally there is a character right here who is a mage, like a little dark wizard guy, and that is co-op. So if you're doing co-op, your other player can only play as him, and his abilities are... The only one I can remember is if he's the only one alive, he actually gets more potent in combat. And co-op in this works fairly well. If you die, or if your co-op player dies, they can use a mini blank. What a blank does is it clears the screen of all bullets, and the co-op player who's dead can kind of float around near you and do like a much smaller area blank for you. She charges up and can blow it out. But I haven't really played much of co-op. I only did it like for 20 minutes or so, because this is, if you don't have someone who is just as skilled as you, it's not very easy. I mean, yeah, they can play around with you for a little bit, but feeding them guns and stuff like that to make sure you get further, it's a little bit more difficult. All right, so every single map you do is going to be completely procedurally generated, except save 1 or 2 rooms. They'll be in different places, but the layout is the same. You start with your single shot pistol here, and there is a reload mechanic, which makes sense, and I actually enjoy that it's there. It kind of makes me think more about when to attack and when to move. Although, personally, I move pretty much the entire time I'm playing. That would be your blank that I just fired off there. And I'm trying to figure out what the dodge roll is for keyboard, because I haven't done it yet. But dodging is a very key element to playing this, so we need to figure out how to do that. It's not space, it's not shift, it's not control, it's not alt. It is right click. Alright, so right click will be your dodge roll. Works for me. I would imagine mouse wheel scrolling is going to be your weapon change. Although I'm not sure what the item button is going to be, but quite frankly, you don't use them very often. Most of the items I've found are passive. The few active ones that I do find, I use once or twice before I'm actually dead. So as you can see, these guys do not play around. This is the second room I've walked into, and they're already shooting fairly heavy. I mean, it's nothing I can't really take. Got hit there twice, and my armor blew off there, so now you can see my face. But this is very tame. The first boss is really going to crank up the difficulty, and then the second floor, that's when stuff gets really crazy. Like, the difficulty spike from floor 1 to floor 2 is insane. It's like jumping up 2 difficulty modes. And then floor 3, I didn't make it on for very long, because it goes up even further. Actually, I would say the difficulty jump from floor 2 to 3 is way less severe, because at that point you probably have quite a bit of equipment and it makes it easier. But even sometimes you will finish the entire first floor without getting a single gun. I've done that multiple times. It's quite possible, and you have to beat the boss with your little pistol. It takes forever, and it's a pain. Other times, I will come out on the first floor with an AK-47, a couple of pieces of armor, and I'm just doing fine and dandy. But even with that, regardless of how well my run has gone, floor 2 is going to be brutal. So there's quite a bit of enemy type in this so far. Just on the first floor alone, I think there's about 5 or 6. Then you get to the second floor, it's going to add about 5 or 6. Third floor, about 5 or 6. And I have not even came across all the bosses that are available yet either. Nor all the guns. There are... Into the Gungeon lives up to its name. There are about 200 weapons, I believe. Some of them will not drop until you have actually found the unlock to do it. That looks like it's going to blow up if I don't open it. Alright. Hegemony Carbine. Oh, I've never had this one before. So I can see it there at the right. They all have limited ammunition, and they are mostly way more powerful than your pistol. Sometimes some guns just are not suited for certain situations. I found a jet engine that is very, very close range. It works like an afterburner, but when you use it, you also fly backwards across the room. So that was a fun weapon for sure, but it had a limited use from what I could see. It was really hard to get the hang of. I've had a super soaker, which it'll do a little bit of damage, but it will also put out fire on the ground if you find fire, which is not too often, at least on the floors that I've been on. And also, the further that you go, the more puzzly things get, I guess. There was a room that I found that was actually had a minecart puzzle that I had to figure out. And there's more hazards to get past, like rolling death balls with spikes on them and pits to jump over and things like that. So it's not just run and gun in different rooms. There is going to be hazardous areas as well. Alright, so we got the boss there. And each room that has that green circle, those are rooms that I can teleport to at any time. I'm not sure what button that is on the keyboard, but I'm sure I can figure it out. Oh, oh, get out of there. I will be the first to tell you I'm not the best at this game. I'm not that great at bullet hells, period. I did my video on Assault Android Cactus, and I did beat that one, and I really liked that one, but that has nothing on the difficulty to this game. Like, not even close. I'm already about halfway out of my ammo here. And they're completely different types of games, mind you. One being roguelite, one being straight up shooter. But they mix the two very well in this. The amount of different guns that you find really keeps things fresh. I really enjoy that quite a bit. And I think because it is difficult, and because I know it's me that messed up, that I just keep trying to do better and better, that keeps me coming back. So we got a shopkeep here. There's a shopkeep on every floor, I do believe. At least from what I've found so far, there's been a shopkeep on every single floor. I think I'm going to grab a key, because I don't have any. You only start with one, and if you don't have one, you can't open those chests unless you try to shoot them open, which there's a very small chance you can get an item out of it, but normally it will be useless junk if you do blow it up. So keys are highly important. Let's see if we can find that key, or that button, to change areas. No? No. Oh, there it is. Tab. Alright, there we go. Alright, so 2 hearts, full ammo. Let's tackle the boss of level 1. From what I can tell, there's probably about 30 different boss types, and you're going to run into about the same 3, I believe, on floor 1. I've beaten... These are probably one of the easier ones, actually. Ugh. But as you can tell, they really amp up the bullet hell portion of this game. I mean, the bosses are really tough. I took a hit there. I took another hit there. This is not good. I'm not used to doing it on keyboard and mouse. I'm used to using the controller. And this gun, it shoots fast, but it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. I've found things like sniper rifles and charge guns are way more effective because you're constantly moving. You don't have time to pump in that many bullets into whatever you're shooting. It's more ideal, at least for me, to... There's my death. It's more ideal for me to take a shot, move, take a shot, move, and you do way more damage because I can focus more on dodging bullets that way than doing damage. So we're going to just quick restart it and give it another run. I'm going to see if I can actually make it to level 2 this time. So the replay value in this is nigh unsurpassable. Every single time you play through it, the enemies will be a little bit the same, but these guys right here, I didn't even run into my first run. This is the last run we just did, the grenade guys. I've seen them before, but that is what I mean by it's different, but it's kind of the same. Like there were libraries. We were in like a building-esque dungeon on level 1 the first time, but it's the room layouts themselves. I don't think they're fully random. The ones that are going to pop up are, but the layout of each room is not random. It's a set rotation. Well, not a rotation, but there's a set number of rooms that you can have show up at any given time. I've never seen that item. I'm very curious of what that is, but I can't quite afford that one. And the snowballer. It's a machine gun that shoots out snowballs. Could be useful. A little bit better than the pistol. But again, I like the charge shot weapons. If I can find like a plasma pistol or something like that, they're nice. These guys make me smile. When I see a room full of them, it's like, oh, you're so cute. Now I get to shoot you in the face. There we go. Get a couple more. I actually think the aesthetic on this does the game a lot of good. It's maybe the pixely graphic style, and some of you may not be into that, but I feel like since they did that, one, they can keep the optimization of the game running regardless of how many bullets are on the screen. You don't have to worry about dropping on those frames, but more so, it just kind of works for me. They have more freedom. They can do a lot more with pixel art than I think they could do in like fully 3D render models, at least with the small indie dev team for sure. But I kind of like it. I don't know. It's got the it has the Binding of Isaac feel to it, minus the creep factor. And I find myself playing... Oh, free chest. Oh, what's that? Temporary +1 to gun. I think I'd rather have the little mine there. But anyways, I find myself appreciating pixel art more and more these days. And you know, a lot of games that do it for the right reasons turn out fantastic. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of horrible pixel art games out there, and it's more of a case of you're just not good enough to animate anything better, so you went with pixel art. But when it's a deliberate design decision to help the game itself, I like it. Like in terms of Shovel Knight or something like that. I really have been playing a lot of good pixel art games. I've got another one planned here that will be my next Steam Shuffle as well, that I need to put a little bit of time in before I do that one. But I find it interesting that we are starting to kind of go back to this timeless art style in a lot of the games that seem to be really popular with fairly simple design mechanics, when all of this... Oh, Jesus, wrong button. I think space should be that button. Ugh! I don't think I came across them in the last dungeon. The mine went off. Oh, okay, that one drops apparently when I get hit. That makes sense. Anyways, I find it really unique and interesting that the age that we live in, with the technology that's available to us, so many of these older retro-inspired games are becoming so popular instead of the AAA titles where, I mean, they're just kind of meh, and they're all kind of the same, where the pixel art ones are usually the ones that have the unique ideas that otherwise we wouldn't be able to see in a game, and I'm really, really enjoying them. Alright. I'm trying to find another gun before we fight the boss, but I may not get one in this run, so that would be unfortunate. I have beat the first boss with nothing but a pistol, so it can definitely be done. I think I need to kind of focus on cover a little bit more instead of always moving, if the room allows it. Ooh. Yeah. Colt 1851. Pop, 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 pop. Not the best gun, but it'll work. And I do like the flippable tables. They do provide a temporary cover. They do break after a few shots, but if you use them right, they can save you in a jam for sure. There's a lot to this game that I think I haven't figured out yet. Like if secret rooms and things like that, or just this room that is completely blank. Because I know I can pull these switches. I've seen this room before. You pull these and the chandeliers fall. But that's all that happens. I feel like I'm missing something. And I know that's kind of one of the tropes of the roguelite genre, is to put these obscure secrets and things like that into the games where you'd almost need to walk through to find out, or just maybe a more clever intellect than my own to actually figure them out. Because I don't like that. I like things that are going to help me out be a little bit more in reference. Like that kind of looks like it could be something, but I'm not really sure. And I know there's probably things I'm missing, and I hate feeling like I'm missing out on things like that. Alright, who we got? The Bullet Twins again? Alright, we can take the Bullet Twins. Let's do this. We're going to make it to level 2. Come on, Trigger Twins. Alright, I may have to concentrate a little bit more here. It's difficult to talk and focus at the same time. No! That didn't really help. The bosses are highly unique. These guys, the way their bullet patterns, their attack patterns, there's going to be a lot of bullets. That's the only thing that they share. But a lot of the patterns are actually stylized to fit the theme of the boss itself. There's a snake boss who will shoot out bullet chains that move just like the Snake game. And I thought that was pretty cool. Ugh. These guys are one's supposed to be more angry and serious, the other one's more happy-go-lucky and less... There we go. Supposed to be less predictable. Ooh. I know I have the blank. Maybe I should use them a little more. But you only get 2 per floor unless you find another one, and they are quite rare to find, or buy one from a shop. And I try to save them for bosses, but in some of the harder levels, man, it's... God, I'm close. I'm close to getting them down. No! I will use another blank if I have to. There we go. Alright, there's one twin down. The other one enrages. He gets a little bit more health back. But at least I only have to focus on the one guy now, so that makes it slightly easier. No! So close. So close. I have died 17 times in my total playthrough of Enter the Gungeon thus far, and I see that number going much higher because I like it enough to keep playing this. I've got a good 6 or 7 hours in here on those 17 deaths, and it's been a good time every single run. I do enjoy it quite a bit. I want to take a look at the just to show how much there actually is in this. This is a list of the guns that you can find. The ones that you are in full color I have already found, and some of them I don't even know what they are yet. But as you can see, there are a literal ton of weapons in this game. Absolute ton of weapons. And then on your item screen, the same theme reoccurs here. There are so many items that I have not found that are still in here that you can come across at any point. I don't know what 80% of these, I have no idea what they do. Then your enemy types, all the ones I have not made it to yet. There are so many enemy types in this, and it's kind of, those guys suck, and those. It's kind of sad that I want to be better because I want to go further and see these other guns and these other enemies and these other bosses. Quite a few bosses as well. These are just, I've seen more. These are just the ones that I've beaten. But there's, what is that? 6, 9, 12, 16, 20, 22 boss types. So not a bad number. And each one, if they're themed like the rest of them have been, 22 bosses is pretty good. Come on. I think Assault Android had 5 bosses, so that's quite a bit. But there you have it, folks. My impressions of Enter the Gungeon, available on Steam currently. It's actually on sale for $8, I believe. It's about 10% off because it just launched. If you like what you see, give me a like, give me a subscribe so you can get more content. If you like Enter the Gungeon based on the video that you just saw, go pick it up and support the developers. I think they did something pretty cool here. Until then, my name has been Asher, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.